There's a worm that hides in the sand and slices fish in half. A creature that dissolves bones to eat them from the inside. The deep ocean isn't just dark and cold. It's home to monsters that look like they crawled out of your worst nightmares. These are 10 creatures so creepy, you'll question if they're even real. Some have been living unchanged since dinosaurs ruled the earth. Others were discovered so recently that science barely understands them. Prepare to never sleep peacefully again. Starting at number 10 on our list, Sarcastic fringehead. Don't let the funny name fool you. The sarcastic fringehead is one of the most aggressive fish in the ocean. And when it gets mad, it becomes a living nightmare. When threatened, it opens its mouth so wide that its entire head becomes one giant, gaping maw filled with needle-sharp teeth. The mouth is bigger than its body, turning this small fish into what looks like a flesh-eating flower from hell. They fight by pressing their open mouths together and wrestling like underwater gladiators. Divers describe seeing them as terrifying because they look normal until suddenly their entire head splits open like something from a horror movie. At number 9, we have Peacock mantis shrimp. This isn't actually a shrimp. It's a killing machine disguised in rainbow colors. The peacock mantis shrimp has the most complex eyes in the animal kingdom and can punch with the force of a bullet. Its eyes can see 16 types of color vision compared to humans' 3. But the really creepy part is its hunting technique. It punches prey so hard that it creates underwater shockwaves that can shatter aquarium glass. The punch is so fast it creates cavitation bubbles that collapse with the heat of the sun. When those bubbles pop, they produce light. This creature literally punches so hard, it makes light. Number 8 on our list is Christmas tree worm. Picture a beautiful Christmas tree decoration sticking out of coral. Now imagine that decoration suddenly vanishes the instant you get close, disappearing into a hole like it was never there. Christmas tree worms bore into coral heads and live their entire lives in these tunnels. The colorful tree is actually their feeding apparatus, covered in thousands of tiny tentacles that filter plankton. What makes them truly creepy is that you never see the actual worm, just these alien feeding tentacles that appear and disappear like ghosts. The worm itself looks like a pale, segmented nightmare hiding inside the coral. Coming in at number 7 are giant isopod. Remember those pill bugs you found under rocks as a kid? Now imagine one the size of a football with glowing eyes, living in the darkest depths of the ocean. Giant isopods are basically underwater cockroaches wearing medieval armor. They can survive without eating for over 5 years by shutting down their metabolism. When food finally arrives, usually a dead whale, they gorge themselves until they can barely move. But here's the creepy part. They're scavengers that can sense death from miles away. When something dies in the deep ocean, giant isopods appear out of nowhere like underwater vultures, swarming the corpse. The number 6 spot belongs to zombie worm. The zombie worm gets its name because it eats the bones of dead whales, from the inside out. But the way it does this is pure nightmare fuel. Female zombie worms don't have mouths or stomachs. Instead, they secrete acid that dissolves whale bones, then absorb the nutrients through their skin. But they can't do this alone. They need bacteria living inside their bodies. The males are even creepier. They're microscopic and live as parasites inside the females' bodies, doing nothing but making more zombie worms. When a whale dies and sinks, these worms slowly dissolve the entire skeleton over decades. For the number 5 position, we have Goblin shark. The goblin shark looks like something that should have died with the dinosaurs. Its long, flat snout makes it look like a chainsaw with fins. But that's not the creepy part. When it hunts, its jaw shoots out of its mouth like an alien chestburster. The entire jaw mechanism extends forward with lightning speed, grabbing prey and pulling it back. It's like the shark's face comes apart and reassembles itself in seconds. They've been virtually unchanged for 125 million years, living in the deep ocean like swimming ghosts. Scientists think they can hunt you by sensing the electrical fields from your heartbeat. Moving up to number 4, we find Barreleye fish. This fish has a completely transparent head, and you can see its brain through its skull. But the really disturbing part is what it does with those rotating green eyes. The Barreleye fish hangs motionless in the water, looking up through its see-through head for prey swimming above. Its eyes can rotate to track movement while its body stays perfectly still. It's like having a living security camera floating in the darkness. For decades, scientists thought these fish were deformed because every specimen they caught had a damaged transparent head. It wasn't until 2009 that they realized the nets were destroying the fish's delicate skull dome. Our number 3 pick is Bobbit worm. The bobbit worm is pure nightmare fuel. It can grow up to 10 feet long, but spends its entire life buried in the sand with only its jaws sticking out, waiting to slice prey in half. When a fish swims overhead, the worm explodes from its burrow with lightning speed, grabbing the victim with razor-sharp jaws and dragging it underground. The attack happens so fast that fish are often cut completely in half. But here's the most disturbing part. The worm injects its prey with toxins that keep them alive, but paralyzed while being slowly digested. Aquarium workers have found these worms living in their tanks for years without knowing. In the runner-up position at number 2, we have Frilled shark. The frilled shark is a living dinosaur that looks more like a sea serpent than a shark. It has 300 needle-sharp teeth arranged in 25 rows, and when it strikes, it coils its body like a snake and lunges forward. This creature has been virtually unchanged for 80 million years. It was already ancient when T-Rex was just evolving. Most of what we know comes from dead specimens that wash up on beaches during earthquakes. Female frilled sharks are pregnant for 3.5 years, longer than an elephant. Scientists think they might be nearly blind, hunting by sensing electrical fields from other animals' heartbeats. And finally, taking the top spot at number 1 is vampire squid. Despite its terrifying name, the vampire squid doesn't suck blood, but what it does is far more disturbing. When threatened, it turns itself completely inside out. The vampire squid flips its body so that all its spines are pointing outward, transforming from a graceful swimmer into a spiky ball of horror. It has the largest eyes relative to body size of any animal on Earth. But the creepiest part is how it feeds. Instead of hunting, it eats marine snow, a disgusting mix of dead plankton, feces, and decaying matter that drifts down like underwater dandruff. It has been virtually unchanged for 300 million years. These creatures prove that the deep ocean is Earth's alien world. They've evolved in complete darkness under crushing pressure, creating forms of life that seem impossible. But what if these aren't the strangest things down there? What if there are creatures so bizarre that our minds can't even process them? That's exactly what we're diving into next. The most mysterious deep-sea discoveries that science still can't explain.